Why did Walt Whitman take a dig at humans in section 32 of Song of Myself? Walt Whitman belonged to which period of English literature? What did the tokens reveal to the poet? Welcome to my classroom. Today we'll be discussing section 32 titled Animals from the poem Song of Myself written by Walt Whitman. To understand this poem, let's take a shallow dive into the history of English literature. Let's start with the Romantic period or Romanticism literature. It started at around 18th century. This philosophical, artistic, and intellectual movement focused primarily on the sense of self, over the collective conscience or hegemony of a group, religion, or nation. Writers and artists in the Romantic period questioned and critiqued man-made conventions by comparing them with the simple yet functional complexity of nature or the natural world. Writers of the Romantic period deemed nature as idealistic and perfect, a thriving, growing organic order without the discrimination and divisive systems established by men or humans. The key point to remember here is that Romanticism focused on an individual's emotional experience over logical thinking. The rise of Romanticism in American literature in 19th century America coincided with a rising sense of national identity. Rapid technological advancement, industrial growth, and democratization of American political structure. And like any other society, the development of American society came with its own sets of new challenges and conflicts. What were the conflicts faced by the American society of that time? Well, rapid industrial growth exacerbated class divisions. Democratization of politics led to the differences between the North and South of America, where the former strongly critiqued and opposed the practice of slavery being continued in the rural South. Also, a technologically flourishing society attracted an influx of immigrants from Europe and other regions. That became a bone of contention. Why? Because religion became a point of discussion, where uber-religious conservatism was challenged by logic, reason, and most recently, rising democratic values. Apart from being a poet, Walt Whitman was an autodidact, teacher, journalist, and an editor of a newspaper. His epic poem Songs of Myself established Walt Whitman as one of the major poets in American literature. Whitman's work was greatly influenced by the continuous civil strife caused by the American Civil War, the slave trade, and the classism prevalent in American society of the 19th century. Songs of Myself was initially published in 1855, but several changes were made by the poet from 1855 to 1881. This poem is divided into 52 sections. Please remember that. Let's do a reading of section 32 titled Animals. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep for their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied. Not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? Let's start with the explanation. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self-contained. I stand and look at them long and long. Section 32 begins with an unusual statement. I think I could turn and live with animals. Now that's unusual phrasing. As a reader, you would want to ask, the poet wants to turn from what? And why does he want to live with animals? What's so unique about them? The word turn can be interpreted in many ways. Humanity took its first step in harmony with nature, taking care of it and seeing itself as a part of the natural world. But later, humans diversified. They built civilizations, institutions, and systems benefiting them. They placed their existence at a superior level, considering themselves as the epitome of God's creation, thinking that somehow it gave them the right to bring order. How? By making rules and subjugating the ones they considered as weak. Here, the word turn could mean the speaker wants to turn away from those systems and institutions established by humans. Turn here could also mean turning back to a much simpler time than the time this poem was written, perhaps turning from industrial to Arcadian. Remember, America at that time was going through some massive economic and socio-political changes, and its effect left a deep impact on Whitman's writing. Another possible meaning of turn could be going back or turning back from evolutionary changes. As I mentioned earlier, humans placed themselves at the top of the food chain because of evolution. From an initial simple state existence, they changed to a more complex identity. And that enhancement, according to Walt Whitman, hasn't been that satisfactory. Now you understand why the speaker found the animals calm and self-contained. Because they do not worry about their identity. They do not have complicated societies or the need to label and classify things as humans tend to do. Next lines. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. In the next lines, the speaker is lambasting human nature for its numerous frailties. By comparing the insatiable human greed with the equanimous nature of the animals, the speaker is not praising the animals, he is criticizing human nature. He is saying that humans are always dissatisfied with what they have, and that they have made themselves mad with this maniacal need to own things. The poet is attacking the never-ending human propensity for expansion, avarice, and ownership. Moving on, Whitman says that animals don't kneel to another, not even to their kind, implying animals don't do that but humans do. Here the poet is talking about class distinctions and the subjugation of humans by humans. Subjugation happens when one section considers another section lesser or weaker than its own. In the next line, he is probably hinting towards religion that animals don't bow down to figures, icons, or legends that lived thousands of years ago as humans do. Next set of lines. So they show their relations to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. I wonder where they get those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? Here, Whitman is saying that animals lack the duplicity or complexity that humans have. They show their transparent self to him and he, the poet, accepts them without judgment. You can see he is aligning himself with animals rather than humans. He continues with this feeling of kinship. He says that they bring him tokens of himself. Suggestion over here is that maybe a long time ago during the stages of evolution, he had the same attributes or qualities found in animals. The quality to live in the moment, never worrying about the past or future, never being unhappy for having or not having things in life. They show or reveal these qualities without any pretense to the speaker. He is thinking about these qualities because this is what poet wants to attain in his life. He is insinuating that the life of a human is very limiting and never free like that of animals. It is not ideal. This also makes him wonder whether he eons ago had these qualities, tokens to be precise, and that maybe he forgot or learned to ignore them with time. These attributes or tokens appear to the speaker while observing the attitude of the animals, and it is there when he realizes that these attributes are not unfamiliar to him. And that's why he wonders whether he had those tokens a long time ago, before evolution made him truly human. Let's jump to the analysis. There is no rhyme scheme. The poem is in free verse. You can see the lines are of varying length but never incomplete in their meaning. Lines in section 32 start like an internal monologue with a heretic or an unorthodox statement. It is urging the reader to be very curious as to know why the poet made that statement, that he wants to live with animals. The frequent use of anaphora in section 32 is pressing upon the fact that though humans have achieved so much in their lives, still they are not very content with what they have. At the end of this section, the question made is not actually looking for an answer, because it is rhetorical. It is there to make a statement rather than to draw out any information. Now, what can be the themes used in section 32 of Songs of Myself? In section 32, several oppositions are running as themes. First could be religion versus nonconformity. Whitman points out that the idea of God does not limit animals. Unlike humans, they don't have divisions and factions based on their belief system, and that has made them much happier than humans. Second could be materialism versus contentment. Walt Whitman in section 32 is scathingly attacking humans' obsession with owning things. He says that they are demented with the mania to possess things, but still they are unhappy. But that's not the case with animals. They don't suffer from this mania and hence are much happier than humans. Third could be true democracy versus selective democracy. The poet in this excerpt says that not one kneels to another, meaning that the animal world is truly democratic. It practices equal rights, and it does not establish dominion over their kind or another species like humans do based on religion, race, and class. This concludes today's session. I was excited to get this video to you as soon as possible. As for the poem Songs of Myself by Walt Whitman, I would encourage you to read the entire poem at least once. It is a truly remarkable piece of literary work and one of my favorites. If you found the video entertaining and informative, do leave a like, comment, or subscribe. Until next time, bye-bye.